Rev up your engines! Well, if you've tried to rent a car when you're on vacation doing something, you find out, one, you might not be able to get one, and generally, they're going to really rip you off on the prices, too. I was looking at renting cars on the East Coast. Guess what? I drove the Matrix here instead. You could drive anywhere in the United States in about 3 days. They wanted $500 a day at the Boston airport. So I'd have to pay for the plane and then rent a car. I just drove instead, which a lot of people are doing. Hertz went bankrupt. They sold off some of their fleet. People weren't renting cars. The car rental companies weren't getting. They got rid of a bunch of their cars. And here's the funny part. They even say that the car rental places themselves don't have enough workers. They fired people, laid them off when the coronavirus came, and they don't have anybody to take their place. So, from what I've seen of customers of mine who have rented cars at airports, if you think the customer service was lousy in the past at these car rental places, they said, you should see what it's like now. We had to wait an hour in line, and we were lucky we got a car. The people were obnoxious because there weren't enough of them working, and you can't blame the people working there. They probably got, 2 people doing a job of 6 people, so they're all running around like a chicken with their head cut off. And I've had people tell me from California and Florida that they were even paying over $500 a day to rent a car. Here's what I don't understand. It's a competitive world, right? I looked when we were thinking about flying to Boston and renting a car. I could take an Uber from the airport to my son's house in Norton. It was like $75. They wanted $500 a day to rent a car. Hey, I'll Uber all over the place if I do that. If I come for Thanksgiving or something, I'll just Uber. The heck with renting a car from these swines? They're gonna try to ream people as much as they can. Don't use them. There's plenty of other ride-sharing things you can do. There's Uber guys all over the place that are just out there to make a living, Help support those private individuals that are driving their own car for Uber versus some rental car corporation that doesn't give a crap about you. Just say to the car rental companies, they're trying to ream everybody over. Hey, too bad on them. Use an alternative mode of transportation. The heck with these people, they think they can charge $500 a day to rent you a car? They can all take a flying leap as far as I'm concerned. Sure, they got problems. Well, that's their problem. All they're doing is raising the rates, trying to ream the few people that are still using them. Hey, good luck on that one, I say. Americans aren't stupid. Don't rent a car from them if they're going to charge that much money. That's just pure greed and capitalism. And that kind of greed, I'm against that stuff entirely. Now, here's an email from a fan. I have to share it. You're right, FCA are criminals. I bought a 2020 Gladiator. I confirm your rants about Fiat Chrysler being complete garbage. I'm currently on my 6th steering box and waiting for the 7th one to come in on a year-old car. I've been complaining it's dangerous to have 3 to 6 inches of dead zone in the steering wheel. 3 of the boxes were placed under warranty and the other 3 out of pocket because I was denied warranty. When the techs knew it was another bad box. The plant in China where these boxes are manufactured clearly have zero quality control. They were first made with aluminum housings, but then they switched to steel, but still have the same slap. Not all are bad, but the ones I got were. I'm going on a year of being in a lemon law case with these people. I keep telling them that the brace they put on didn't fix the problem. It still has too much play. The pitman arm doesn't move until you get past the 6 inches of dead zone. How can they get away with this stuff? I'm scared to drive my own vehicle. Well, I'm not making this stuff up. And you can see, here's a guy who bought one. It's a 2020 Gladiator. And the steering has never worked right. He's got 3 boxes replaced under warranty, and none of them work. Because, of course, they're just replacing with the same crap that they were originally made with. It's, it's kind of amazing. So I tell you, don't be like my viewer and get stuck with one. Don't buy one in the first place. If you don't buy one in the first place, hey, come on now. You don't have to worry about dealing with these crooks. Let's face it, Jeeps started to have problems a long time ago. They were great when they were Willys Jeeps. AMC made them and then Chrysler bought them. They started making them cheaper and cheaper. When Fiat took over, they've really turned for the worse. You can't even get steering boxes that work right on a new vehicle like that. Don't buy one. You don't have to deal with all that crap. Well, if you notice, GM's putting full advertising into their electric Hummer. I guess they've already sold all the ones that they're planning on making so far with pre-orders. Banking it all on a revolutionary battery system that they call the Ultium battery system. As GM said, thousands of GM scientists, engineers, and designers are working to execute this. All right, maybe I would have done it with less than thousands of people, Old Henry Ford, he did a lot of it pretty much on his own with a few engineers that he had. I think it might be overkill using that many people. I remember back in the day I did a shot at Shell Oil and I said, how many engineers are in this building? And they said something like 5,500 engineers. I'm like, what do you need 5,500 engineers for? Maybe 500 would be enough, you know, kind of overkill here. Now, the difference is they use pouch and prismatic cells, so they can be much more efficient than the stuff that, say, Tesla's using. Since they're not cylindrical, which can only be stacked vertically, they can put them wherever they want and fit them in, and they have a lot more power. They claim they can get 400 miles of range and a 0 to 60 speed in around 3 seconds. Super fast, right? Now, this new battery scheme also requires 90% less wiring. It can be cheaper to make, and it also reduces the volume of the battery pack by 15%. So it has more power, it's easier to make, and it's smaller and lighter. But there's one problem, and I'll quote how they explain it. The WBMS is a wholly manageable integrated system with all circuits, hardware and software for battery management, RF communications, system functions in a single system level product. Sounds great, but I'm the guy who fixes them, right? If you got it all in one thing and that one thing breaks, it's gonna cost a fortune to fix it. I'll give you a perfect example. Their generators broke down a lot as they got old because they cooled the battery pack, but they didn't cool the generator and the electric motor. And they would melt after they had 100-something thousand miles on it. To replace it, you had to replace the entire transfer case, pull the engine and transfer case out, transmission, everything out, replace it. It was a $6,000 job just to replace the electric motor generator. So, great for building them, put it all in one pack. But when those babies break, man, you're going to be an expensive bill. And of course, GM's playing the game of, being green. I quote them again. We're making the entire industry towards a sustainable future. Well, if you got a super expensive electric system and it breaks, it's sustainable for them because they're going to make a lot of money selling you parts, you know? Realize what the ultimate cost of things are, you know? Plus, this is an electric car, so it's got to get electricity from somewhere. It's not a hydrogen fuel cell car. It uses batteries. And where's that electricity coming from? If it's coming from a coal-fired plant, whatever, it's going to be polluting just as much as any other car because the electricity is polluting. Now, since these BMS systems that they're using are all computer run and they can set it up for this much voltage here, this much voltage there, well, when the batteries can't be used in a car or truck anymore, they're saying, well, you can use them for home charging system and stuff because they still got a lot of electricity left in them. Now, they're not doing it yet, but the system is capable of doing 800 volt systems. And at that level, they can be recharged super fast at these chargers. Now, there's a lot of electricity, and of course, anybody that knows anything about electricity is the more voltage you have, the thicker you got to make the wires, the more expensive the electronic parts have to be. That was why years ago they were touting, 48 volts, it's the future for cars. Well, it wasn't, because if they had internal combustion engines and the systems were 48 volts, all the switches and wiring had to be upgraded, so they thought they were saving money by going to 48 volts and running things electricity. They found it cost them more money to build them that way, because you have to have really strong electronics. So that's 48 volts. This, they're talking about 800 volts. So we're still, as far as I'm concerned, talking about the future. It's a new system. Who knows how it's going to roll out? Just like I said about the Corvette. I tested out the new mid-engine Corvette. Hey, it was fun. It was great. But will it hold up? And it's shown that a lot of them aren't holding up. So we'll see as the Hummer rolls out what kind of problems they have. Guess what's coming back in the United States? Those tiny teardrop trailers. You've seen them, they're cute. They look like little teardrops because they're aerodynamic, and you can tow them with anything. I towed them with my little Matrix. It works perfectly fine. They don't weigh that much. With the coronavirus, people not wanting to stay in hotels, flights getting so high, like I say, if you're a real driver like me, you can go anywhere in the United States from the middle in 2 or 3 days. Take your own hotel with you. Now, some people used to build their own, decades ago, but now you can buy a really beautiful one. Since they're teardrop shaped and low, some of them you can even crank up. You can see around. They're easier to back up. They're much easier to tow. They don't weigh all that much. And they come in all shapes and sizes. Now, if you don't mind paying for a really expensive one, there's an Aero teardrop. They got all kinds of wood and mahogany inside. The only problem is they start at $15,999. They're not giving that particular one again. It's called Aero Teardrop. Clear alder wood carpentry inside, kitchen out back. If you want to spend another $350, you can get an additional bunk bed option. But if you're like me and cheap, hey, check out the American Teardrop trailer. They start at only $5,000. They're a little bitty teardrop. That's more my style. You're going with a twin mattress. They're really made for 2 people. You're not gonna fit a whole family in one of these things. Or if you want to go retro, you can go to the big woody teardrop campers. They start at $8,900. They got the wood on the outside. There's all kinds of these for all kinds of price ranges. And like I said, you can tow them with just about anything that has a motor in it, I even saw a guy the other day, I don't know what kind it was, but he was pulling it with a Harley Davidson. Got a lot of grunt low-end torque, so he could pull it. I don't know if everyone driving a motorcycle pulling a trailer surely changed the dynamics of it, but hey, he was doing it. If people trying to rent your cars are too much, you don't want to fly on planes, or they don't have planes where you go, drive yourself like we used to in America. Get back on your own road, go wherever you want, stay wherever you want, go to the restaurant outside, eat in your own little trailer. Not a bad idea. The tiny teardrop trailers are making a comeback. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.